Shakur's killing. But in 2008, according to a former LAPD detective, he admitted his role. Not to police investigating Tupac's death, but to a task force that was looking into the murder of Notorious B.I.G.
Mr. Anderson grabbed a gun and shot across Mr. Smith into Mr. Knight's car that Mr. Tupac Shakur was in.
We're going to break down the biggest moments from another day in this trial as the prosecution seeks to use Davis's own words to convict him. And we are also going to sit down with someone who knew Tupac Shakur personally, Jamila Barnes, Tupac's cousin. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
He said, "We did the other one." 4 words. That is not a lyric. That is a statement given inside a federal proffer interview that was supposed to be about the murder of Christopher Wallace. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Law and Crime Insiders, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Here is the visual anchor for everything that follows. Imagine a locked evidence vault. The drawer is labeled Notorious B.I.G. Task Force. An investigator pulls it open, and out rolls a live grenade with a yellow tag that reads Tupac Shakur. For years, Duane Keith Davis said he had nothing to do with either killing. Then, according to former LAPD Detective Darren Dri, he said, the other one. That sentence is now a court exhibit, and the state intends to detonate it in front of a jury.
To break down, and this is coming really at the end of the 3rd day. We really don't want you to miss it. So the prosecution put 2 witnesses on the stand who may have completely changed the whole trajectory of this entire case. One of them, a former LAPD detective, testified that Duane Keith Davis, the defendant, actually admitted to his role in Tupac's murder. And remember, prosecutors say he didn't actually pull the trigger, but that he orchestrated this drive-by shooting back in 1996. Now, here's the twist. It wasn't a confession to the police that were investigating Tupac's death specifically. No, this allegedly came during a proffer interview with the feds, who were actually investigating the killing of another big-name rapper, Tupac's friend turned rival, Notorious B.I.G. And the man who heard it? A former LAPD detective named Darren Dri. Now, before we get to that, okay, we also heard from a former FBI agent who sat down with Davis back in 1998. And
the prosecution built its opening around 2 men who heard 2 opposite stories. An FBI agent heard a denial in 1998. An LAPD detective heard a confession in 2008. The distance between those 2 rooms is 10 years and 0 follow-up. That gap is where the defense will live.
And what Davis allegedly told him back then was a very different story. This kind of goes to what the defense has been saying, right? Their argument is, you can't believe Duane Keith Davis. You can't believe our client. He had changing stories. You didn't corroborate what he said. He exaggerated what he said for, to sell a memoir, to sell a book, attention, things like that. Now, before we jump into this, I got to let you know, this is a very big case that we're following here on Sidebar. Like we cover a lot of big cases, we're kind of limited in everything we can show you, every piece of footage, every document. So, if you haven't heard yet, you can look at everything, the totality of the case, on the case file section of the Law and Crime Plus app, okay? So we are opening up the evidence vault so you can inspect the raw body cam footage, the 911 calls, the crime scene photos, the full trial tapes firsthand, plus you get ad-free streaming of all your favorite law and crime and court TV shows. So you can see the full picture for an entire month free. Head on over to lawandcrimeplus.com, enter promo code SIDEBAR, and you can start exploring today. Okay, let's jump back into this. So I want to start with that FBI agent. His name is Wade Lee. Back in the late 90s, he was assigned to a federal task force that was investigating gangs in South Central LA. One of the people that he was looking at was Duane Keith Davis. So Davis ended up getting indicted on these drug charges, allegedly trafficking 2 kilograms of cocaine. Davis was facing some serious prison time. So in the summer of 1998, Davis apparently sat down for what's called a proffer interview. It's essentially a meeting between a suspect, potentially a defendant, and law enforcement. And this is a meeting where someone would offer information, seemingly in exchange for leniency, possibly avoiding prosecution altogether. The statements really wouldn't be used against them, at least in that prosecution. And during that conversation, Lee reportedly asked Davis about the Tupac Shakur killing. What was Davis's?
In 1998, Davis sat down with FBI agent Wade Lee for a proffer. Plain English a deal. Talk now, and the words generally stay out of your drug case. Davis was facing serious prison time, so he talked. When Lee asked about Tupac, Davis said he wasn't there, didn't know who did it, and pointed toward corrupt Compton police officers tied to Suge Knight. That is not a confession. That is an alibi by accusation, and it is already in evidence.
Yeah, if they were, apparently it was because of police presence in the area, something of that nature.
Yeah, according to Lee, Davis admitted he was angry enough to retaliate, but claimed he wanted to do it in Compton, not Las Vegas. Also apparently said Compton PD were spreading rumors that his nephew, Orlando Anderson, was the killer. But when Davis's defense attorney had the opportunity to question Lee, they hammered him on this, criticizing his investigation, or maybe, according to the defense, a lack thereof.
Did you ever verify the information in here specifically about allegations of Tupac Shakur's murder?
Verify in terms of what?
Well, for instance, in the document that would have been the year 302 that's dated as of July 14, 1998, there's an indication here, for instance, that at the Las Vegas casino, Davis's girlfriend, and Anderson's girlfriend went up to their hotel room at the Excalibur Casino. Now, once again, this is 1998. The death of Tupac Shakur was in September of 1996.
Right.
Did you ever verify that information with Las Vegas to see if either, and in this case, what the 302 indicates is that the room was in Anderson's name. Did you verify that to be true?
I did not specifically know.
Okay. And then with regards to the way in which he describes, Mr. Davis, how they got to Las Vegas, he says in here that they drove to Las Vegas in a Land Cruiser. Any particular reason? Did he have a Land Cruiser? Was there any verification of that information?
I did not verify that. No.
Now, in addition to that, he had indicated that Corey Edwards, Kevin Davis, Terry Brown, and Big Dre, or AKA Big Dre and Wynn had also traveled to Las Vegas. Did you ever verify if any of those individuals went to Las Vegas?
No, I did not.
Now, in addition to that, he had made mention, at least with that first interview, that he believed that Compton police officers had been the ones to have committed that particular act, the crime in Las Vegas, in terms of the shooting of Tupac Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And with regards to that, though, sir, did you ever look into the possibility that Compton police officers may have been involved in the shooting of Tupac Shakur?
Defense counsel did something the original investigators apparently never did. They asked the FBI agent if he verified the hotel room. No. The car. No. Whether the men Davis named were even in Las Vegas. No. The 1998 denial was never checked, and the 1998 accusation was never chased. Both facts now cut in the defendant's favor.
I did not specifically know.
So we have Davis in 1998 seemingly denying involvement, and this FBI agent seemingly admitting he didn't follow up. Now, 10 years later, according to another witness, everything changed. A different investigation was underway, and this one focused on the killing of Notorious B.I.G. So there was this task force that was made up of the LAPD, the FBI, the DEA, the ATF. They were looking into whether anyone connected to Death Row Records or the Southside Compton Crips was involved in the assassination. Duane Keith Davis was on their radar. Now, the lead detective on this task force seemed to be Greg Kading, and one of his partners was a man named Darren Dri. They reportedly had evidence that Davis was involved in drug trafficking PCP and cocaine, which, could put him away, for the rest of his life? So they approached him, let him know they had a case against him, and they allegedly offered him a deal. Come in, talk to us about Biggie Smalls, maybe we can work something out. So Davis sat down with them, with an attorney present, federal prosecutor was there too, and when they asked Davis about Biggie, he said he didn't know anything. But then, and this is key, according to Dupree, Davis said something that caught everyone off guard.
10 years later, a joint task force is hunting the killers of Biggie Smalls. They approach Davis with a drug case that could bury him. They offer a trade, talk about Biggie. Maybe we can work something out. Davis sits down with a lawyer and a federal prosecutor. He says he knows nothing about Biggie. Then he says something nobody asked about Tupac. 4 words.
According to Dupree, Davis said something that caught everyone off guard.
During the course of that, do you ask Mr. Davis about his involvement in the Biggie Smalls murder?
Yes.
And what is his response?
At that time, he said, no, we didn't have anything to do with that.
When he said, we didn't have anything to do with that one, did that trigger anything in your mind as to what he was saying?
When I recall, yes, we were like, that one, what do you mean? And then he
What was
said,
it?
we did the other one.
He said, we did the other one. And so, at that point, what did you think he was talking about?
Me personally, the only other one was Tupac. But we had nothing, we didn't think he was, we were talking about Christopher Wallace. We didn't ask him any questions about Tupac. He offered that on his own.
And so when he does that, is there some discussion then of maybe having a conversation about Tupac?
It was a surprise to us. Number one, we were shook. We were surprised. Yes.
That moment, right?
Detective Dri asks about the Wallace murder. Davis says, we didn't have anything to do with that one. Dri stops. That one? Davis answers, we did the other one. The only other one in that room was Tupac Shakur. That is the confession. It was unasked, unprompted, and according to Dri, it shook the room. The state calls it guilt. The defense will call it leverage.
2008. And this time, all these years after the killing, this interview was specifically about Tupac Shakur, and according to Dupree, this is when Davis laid out his version of events in detail, claiming that he was in the white Cadillac, that he had a .40 caliber gun, that he allegedly passed it to the back seat, but the would-be shooter got scared, so Davis's nephew Orlando Anderson, remember, the prosecution claims that this was revenge, that Tupac and co. beat up Orlando Anderson earlier in the night, on the night that Tupac was killed at the MGM Grand, right? So Davis's nephew, Orlando Anderson, allegedly grabbed the gun and fired. This was the first time that Davis had allegedly admitted to being in the car, to having the gun, to being part of what happened. Here's what Dupree claims Davis told them.
Mr. Davis stated that his nephew, Mr. Orlando Anderson, was jumped and beat up in a club or in a hotel in Las Vegas after the Tyson fight. He came and told Mr. Davis what happened. They went looking for Tupac, Suge, anybody who was involved, basically, in the beatdown of Mr. Anderson. And they couldn't find him at first, and then they saw him, and basically, Mr. Davis had the gun at first, but they came up on the passenger side of Suge Knight and Mr. Shakur's vehicle, so he couldn't shoot across the driver. So he handed the gun to Dre in the back seat, Andre Smith. He was afraid to shoot. Mr. Anderson grabbed the gun and shot across Mr. Smith into Mr. Knight's car that Mr. Tupac Shakur was in with Mr. Knight.
And did he tell you what kind of vehicle he was in?
He was in a white Cadillac,
Did he tell you what kind of gun was used?
a .40 cal Glock.
Then Davis allegedly gave the full story. He was in the white Cadillac. He had a .40 caliber pistol. He passed it to the back seat because the shooter was on the wrong side. The first man froze. His nephew, Orlando Anderson, grabbed the gun and fired. Notice the structure. Davis puts himself in the car. He puts the gun in his hand, but he puts the trigger in his dead nephew's hand. That is a confession with a built-in escape hatch.
This was a story the prosecution had been waiting for, right? Davis's own words describing his alleged role in Tupac's murder, but the defense went after Dupree, okay? This happened in court. They went after Dupree the same way they went after Lee. And I'm going to get into that in a second, but first, I just have to establish another well-known connection here that was brought up during this line of questioning. and that concerns Sean Diddy Combs, the CEO of Bad Boy Records. According to Dupree, Davis didn't just admit to being in the car, he claimed that Diddy, who was referred to back then as Puffy, was connected to this in some way.
Mr. Davis had a narcotics friend in New York by the name of Equan Williams, Zip. He said he could, this is a lot deeper than that. Sean Puffy Combs was supposed to have given money to Zip Martin to give to Mr. Davis for payment of the Tupac murder. Fast forward, we go to Mr. Davis. He says he can rekindle that relationship with Mr. Zip Martin and get him to talk about the money that was given from Sean Puffy Combs to Mr. Martin that never got to Mr. Davis.
He also claimed Sean Combs, then known as Puffy, was supposed to pay for the Tupac murder through a middleman named Zip Martin. The task force flew Davis to New York to try to record Martin. Martin was dying of cancer. Nothing came of it. So the same man who said we did the other one also gave the task force an unproven conspiracy. The jury will have to decide whether one shocking truth can be surrounded by smoke and still be true.
They pointed out that this task force was investigating Biggie Smalls, not Tupac. So they asked Dupree what efforts he made to verify Davis's story. They pressed him on why Las Vegas Metro wasn't notified sooner. And I gotta say, Dupree's testimony, revealing.
Did you verify any of the information?
That Mr. Davis told us?
Yeah.
We were trying to verify as much as we could.
Okay.
That's
Well,
why we
tell us
put it
the
in there.
efforts. No, I'm sorry. Can you tell this jury the efforts that you made to verify the information that he gave you in 2008?
Flying to New York to try to get the relationship with Zip, Mr. Martin, because he was involved here in Vegas with the murder, and the large sum of money that was supposed to be given to Mr. Martin to give to Mr. Davis. So that's why we flew to New York, to try to get that whole thing going.
Right. And based upon your efforts in New York, were you able to verify that any of that information to be true?
No.
Now, in addition to that, there was other information that Mr. Davis gave up in 2008 in December. Did you verify any of that other information to be true?
I don't think any other information that he gave us was anything except the murder of Tupac.
Sure. Did you at any point verify, for instance, the people that he identified in the vehicle?
No.
You are aware, of course, that some of the people that he had identified in the vehicle were still alive in 2008, right?
One was.
Who was that?
That was Terrence Brown.
Okay. Did you ever verify that Terrence Brown was in Las Vegas at the time of the murder?
We never got a chance to.
Why not?
As I said, our first course of action was to tie in Mr. Combs, the money, and work back from there.
You can
Under
see
cross-examination, Dri admitted what the defense needed. Did you verify anyone else in the car? No. Did you verify Terrence Brown was in Las Vegas? No. Why not? Because the first course of action was to tie in Sean Combs and the money. That is not homicide work. That is drug case reflexes. And it leaves the confession standing alone, unverified, like a fingerprint with no hand.
When you were talking to Mr. Davis and he's telling you what he's telling you, did you have reason to doubt his version of events as it relates to the homicide itself?
I didn't think Mr. Davis was lying because he put the gun in his nephew's hand. And if anybody knows anything from what I hear, Mr. Orlando Anderson was the man besides Keefe D in that neighborhood. He was the prince, and his family loved him. I didn't think that Mr. Davis would put the gun in his own nephew's hand, dead or alive, and put that smut on him unless it was true. The person that killed Tupac, well, in the neighborhood, he's a hero. In the world, he's a villain. So I didn't think Mr. Davis, me personally, would do that unless it was true with his own nephew, because I know he loved his nephew.
So that was a big
Then the
moment.
prosecution asked the only question that matters, did you believe him? Dri said he did not think Davis was lying because Davis put the gun in his own nephew's hand. In that world, the man who killed Tupac is a hero. Davis loved his nephew. He would not put that on him unless it was true. That is not forensic proof. It is a credibility call, and juries make those every day. 4 words just got heavier.
You had also targeted the idea, though, that it wasn't just him moving some large amount. It was people coming into his house, potentially his family. People could be arrested, his friends, for instance, that was part of that, and they all could go to prison, right?
I will say this. Mr. Davis took the hit for a lot of people in his family and his kids, his wife, but that's why he did a lot of the stuff he did. I will say that.
And I appreciate you saying that.
So that's where the defense.
But the defense had already shown the motive to lie. Davis took the hit for his wife, his kids, his family. A man facing life in prison will trade a story for a future. The question is whether this story was true or merely useful. Now the thriller question: if a confession to the most famous murder of the 1990s can sit in a federal file for 10 years without Las Vegas Metro being notified, what else is sitting in a file right now, waiting for the wrong question to be asked?
To this day.
Do you have any doubt in your mind, and yes, Keefe D is innocent unless proven guilty, do you have any doubt in your mind that he wasn't connected to this, that he wasn't involved in what happened to Tupac? Or when you're listening to the evidence, you're listening to the arguments, you've seen this case, are you even more confident in the prosecution's case and his role in what they claim he did?
Yeah, it's just to be very honest, there is clear evidence of his involvement in some way, shape, or form. So it's really on the prosecution to kind of like bring that full circle and really demonstrate all those pieces. But without a doubt, there is some way in the pyramid of it all, there is some connection. So for sure, those things have to be proven in court. And hopefully once proven, hopefully the right verdict will come in and the proper consequences will be hopefully served.
And that's all we
Ultimately, the state must prove the 4 words were more than theater. Go read the December 18, 2008 proffer transcript entered as an exhibit in State of Nevada v. Duane Keith Davis. It is a public court filing. Then ask yourself one question: does we did the other one prove murder, or does it prove a man trying to outrun a life sentence? Tell us in the comments. If you want more evidence-based breakdowns like this, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Law and Crime Insiders.